After Frank's, you'll...
Today, a meeting of two diverse cultures under the same spirit. The story in a moment.
Dear Republic Airlines, today started as a miserable day. The hotel forgot my wake-up call. Then I got a speeding ticket and missed my flight home to New Orleans on another airline. Their next flight wasn't for hours. So I tried Republic. In minutes, your agent, Leroy Shower, booked me on a flight that got me home right on time. Thanks, Republic. You made my day.
Every year, Republic gets thousands of letters that really say the same thing. Nobody serves our Republic like Republic.
We say that Roundup is more affordable than ever. What do you say?
I can afford Roundup. Working with low spray volumes, I can use Roundup at the 1 quart rate and treat twice as many acres as I used to.
I can afford Roundup. For $20 an acre, I can do the job right and treat the whole field, not just patches.
For the best quackgrass control, more farmers agree they can afford
Roundup.
Roundup herbicide, as affordable as it is effective.
Natural gas energy. It's so many good things in your life. It's so good.
It's so soft. It's so nice. It's so cozy.
And Minigasco squeezes every penny to give you the most comfort and convenience from your energy dollar. Because Minigasco cares. Pain can be a throb, or a shooting burst, or a searing jab. But now pain can be stopped, quickly, safely, without surgery, without drugs. Now there's TENS, a modern marvel to end the agony of chronic pain. Find out more about TENS. Call this Pain Care number now.
To the sounds of ancient drums and modern gunfire from a 21-gun salute, Pope John Paul II arrived today in Papua New Guinea, the first pontiff to visit the South Pacific island, and the event drew 5,000 people to the airport, many dressed in their traditional tribal clothes. The Pope greeted them in their native languages. About a third of the island's 3 million residents are Catholic, and they were all asked to leave their axes and bow and arrows at home. On Wednesday, the pontiff will visit the nearby Solomon Islands. Skip.
David, President Reagan today honored the Volunteer for Minnesota program. 22 presidential awards were handed out at a White House ceremony, and Jim Gately was there.
Jackie Sinkin, Volunteer for Minnesota.
The president expressed his gratitude to the winners for providing inspiration to us all.
All of you, God bless you all for reaffirming what this country is all about.
After the ceremony, Jackie Sinkin of Edina was most appreciative.
It's very impressive being there, and it's a wonderful feeling to know that the president recognizes what we are doing out all across the country as volunteers.
The Volunteer for Minnesota project works with the State Office of Volunteer Services to provide partnerships between business, government, and the public. The groups say the 3 biggest needs in Minnesota are employment help, shelter, and food.
Minnesota lawmakers may be abusing the system, that according to State Treasurer Robert Mattson. Mattson released a report today that says lawmakers receive an average of $8,000 a year for telephone, mileage, travel, and daily pay allowances. That's in addition to $18,500 in annual salary. However, Senate Majority Leader Roger Moe says lawmakers are entitled to reimbursement for out-of-pocket expenses and that their salaries are not out of line with workers in the private sector. Princeton, Minnesota pilot Gregory Schmidt was in court today in St. Paul charged with 2 counts of perjury. Schmidt allegedly lied to a federal grand jury investigating Princeton resident Casey Ramirez. Prosecutors say Schmidt, who appeared before the grand jury last spring, allegedly did not tell the truth about flights outside the country and information posted in his logbooks. The grand jury is investigating possible drug smuggling by Ramirez and others. Schmidt's trial is set for May 21st.
What the tornado didn't get, the rains will. That's how one official describes the storms that have swamped much of the southern United States. From Arkansas to the eastern seaboard, the system has left hundreds of people homeless. It began yesterday with more than 24 tornadoes, but the main problem tonight is that of flooding. Up to 6 inches of rain fell overnight in Kentucky and Tennessee, turning main streets into small rivers. 4 people died in the storms, and evacuations were ordered in 11 Kentucky counties. It's described as the worst flooding there in over a decade. Mike?
Up until a few hours ago, perhaps, David, their problem was flooding. Right now, more than a dozen tornadoes have touched down again, down all the way from Texas over into Tennessee as a result of a line of very heavy thunderstorms. We'll show you on a satellite picture here in just a moment. Meanwhile, our weather remains rather tranquil. We do have some rather low temperatures around the area, with them dropping into the 30s up to the north. That means a chance of at least a few snow flurries for the folks up there. For us, things are a little bit different. Take a look at the weather guide. We did reach 52 degrees, 43 for an overnight low, and 39/100ths of an inch of rain since midnight last night. Now, that's not very heavy, but it was a nice soaking rain that we had. Look at this line of thunderstorms develop over Texas, blossoming, extending all the way up into Tennessee. That's where most of the tornadoes touched down, by the way, this afternoon and this evening, was in the Tennessee area. We've had no reports of any damage, no reports of any injuries so far. The radar does show that line of very heavy thunderstorm activity down there, again, with tornado watches in effect until after midnight for a big area of parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. All that along the leading edge of this front that will be pushing into the Atlantic by tomorrow. For us, still some wraparound around that low will keep us cloudy, keep a few showers going, and again, the threat at least of some snow up in the north. For high temperatures tomorrow, 50s here across the southern part of the state, about what we had today, but most of those temperatures in the 50s will occur in the afternoon hours, making it seem a little bit pleasant anyway tomorrow. 42 right now, 53% humidity, northwest winds at 17, 3004, the barometer's holding steady. Forecast look like this: clear to partly cloudy, windy. Winds will be slowly dying down tonight, a low of 34 degrees. That's going to be cold. Outlying areas colder. If you put any plants out that you want to protect, you better do it tonight. Variable clouds, chance of showers, still gusty winds tomorrow, a high of 52, and mostly clear tomorrow night and Wednesday, partly cloudy and 58. Our extended forecast calls for partly cloudy conditions on Thursday. Friday and Saturday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms. I guess the best thing about that is that we are going to be warming back up into the 60s for highs again, David, but our normal for this time of year is about 70 now.
Oh, my, so we're still behind the game, right?
We are, yeah.
In just a few moments, across the street at Orchestra Hall, the Symphony for Survival benefit, sponsored by many professional groups. The proceeds to help educate the public on the dangers of the nuclear arms race. Eau Claire, Wisconsin police still baffled by explosions over the weekend of several booby traps that injured 4 people. In Greece today, the flame that will burn at the Olympic Games in Los Angeles was kindled at the site of the first games in 776 BC. And unveiled at the university today, the $400,000 Thermotron RF, a machine to treat cancer by the heat of radio frequencies.
And next on tonight's I-Team Report, we'll look at a St. Paul businesswoman who's received millions of federal dollars as a disadvantaged business, but there are serious questions whether she belongs in a program of government support.
Years ago at mealtime, there was always fresh homemade bread. Now, Country Hearth Breads bring back the taste of the past. Made with hearty wheat and grains, buttermilk, and honey, Country Hearth Breads are naturally wholesome. 100% stone-ground whole wheat bread is on special now at your favorite store. So nutritious. Country Hearth's 100% stone-ground whole wheat bread. Enjoy nature's gift of goodness. Bring home the family of Country Hearth Breads. Country Hearth Breads, they're naturally good.
Does it seem like the only time your bank isn't happy to see you is when you want to borrow money?
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more.
Next time, come to Minnesota Federal. With millions of dollars to lend, we're not about to tell you to take a walk. What you say? Minnesota Federal.
Dirty old Nando rode up in the elevator with me. Oh, my God, what did he do? He called me Toot.
Tonight at 10:30 on WCCO Television.
Right now, you can save $1 on every 32-ounce bottle of Frank's ready-to-use weed or insect killer.
Frank's Nursery and Crafts.
The I-Team has been examining government set-aside programs, the policy of giving a portion of government building projects to minority and disadvantaged people. The I-Team has found that the program is riddled with fraud and that the money intended for the disadvantaged sometimes winds up back in the hands of whites. Don Shelby is here tonight with part 2 of his I-Team investigation. Don?
Remember last night we showed you the largest federal minority contract ever handed out in Minnesota. showed you that it was done by a white-controlled company, that no true minority firms participated, and with the possible exception of one person, no one remembers any minorities being hired for the $4.25 million project. Tonight, we take a look at another company in this program for minorities and the disadvantaged.
They do, and then they give me a few quick...
Catherine Anderson is the only white person in the federal set-aside program in Minnesota. She qualified as a socially and culturally disadvantaged female. In the past 3 years, the government has awarded more than $3 million to her construction company, Cathy's Cranes.
Being a woman in the construction business is a curiosity. And they hear the name Cathy's Crane Corporation, they think, I've got to call her and see if she really is for real.
Ms. Anderson was accepted into the federal set-aside program in 1981. How she got there is an interesting story. She first applied as a white woman, disadvantaged because of a rejection from engineering school. Her application was turned down. SBA officials said the evidence was weak. Cathy reapplied, this time for the minority program, saying she was an American Indian. At the same time, she applied to a state set-aside program. An official there said Cathy told him she was Hispanic. In another application, she said she was Indian, but was disadvantaged because she looked Hispanic. Another application from the same period has Cathy claiming she is Caucasian.
The I-Team has obtained memoranda from several levels of the Small Business Administration, which runs the federal set-aside programs. All of these question whether Miss Anderson is truly disadvantaged. With her application stalled, she turned in 1981 to Senator David Durenberger's office for help. We found a half-dozen letters from Senator Durenberger's office in SBA files. Most urged the agency to accept Cathy into the program. Durenberger told the I-Team he does not know Anderson personally, but that his interest in women's issues led to his support of her efforts.
All of the checking that we did said she was qualified to do the business, and apparently the checking the SBA and everybody else did. So I came at it knowing she was as qualified as a man from a business in a technical sense. I came at it from the standpoint that because she's a woman, you know, she had a right to get my help to get into that kind of business.
But the I-Team's check into Anderson's background revealed a mass of contradictions and serious questions about her disadvantage. In SBA documents, Anderson claims she was raised in abject poverty. In this newspaper story, Anderson says she was raised on a horse ranch near Houston, Texas. Anderson has told people she still controls oil wells on that ranch. In her own biography, Cathy claims that prior to her acceptance into the set-aside program, she owned a chain of cosmetic salons, marketed her own line of cosmetics nationally, and that she raced stock cars, finishing 10th at Daytona. She says she developed successful businesses in 3 states. The SBA turned her down, but a few months later, the SBA changed its mind and placed Cathy Anderson in the set-aside program. At Dave Durenberger's re-election celebration, Anderson showed up to say thanks.
This represents all the small businesses in the state of Minnesota. Dave Durenberger helped me 2 years ago, and if it hadn't been for his help, I couldn't have made it in business. And I've been saving this hard hat for 2 years for his victory tonight.
Most of the $3 million in contracts Anderson has been awarded were recommended by Don Showalter, an SBA official in Minneapolis. Other minority businessmen have accused Showalter of giving Anderson preferential treatment. The I-Team has discovered that Showalter loaned Anderson up to $12,000. That is a violation of federal conflict of interest regulations. The I-Team found this check and verified it as part of Anderson's repayment to Showalter. Our investigation also showed that Cathy's Cranes has employed Showalter's son and brother-in-law. Showalter, who declined an on-camera interview, told us he now realizes the conflict of interest, but said all he was trying to do was help out a small business. The Inspector General's office is now investigating Showalter's relationship with Anderson. And the FBI has been asked to investigate Cathy Anderson for possible violations of federal anti-kickback laws.
The I-Team has also discovered that Cathy Anderson may be operating the biggest small business in the set-aside programs. It involves this man, Frank Johnston, Cathy's roommate. Johnston operates his own business, the Federal Commerce Corporation, from within Kathy's offices. Former employees of both companies say Kathy's Cranes and Federal Commerce are often operated as one enterprise, that their funds are often commingled, and that Kathy's profits from the government set-aside program are used to support some interesting ventures. The I-Team has verified the following recent globe-trotting deals involving Kathy Anderson and Frank Johnston. A trip to Zurich, Switzerland to negotiate the purchase of millions of dollars of petroleum. A 3-month stay in India, negotiating with that country the sale of a huge shipment of sulfur, a nationwide telephone system, and 3 Boeing 747 jets. At the start of the Lebanon crisis, they negotiated with a Syrian broker named Abdullah Saras Iman to sell a shipload of wheat to Damascus. With the help of controlled data, they planned to manufacture cosmetics in Nigeria. And in another deal, tried to trade controlled data computers to Romania for millions of dollars of oil drilling equipment. And in the past year, Johnston has tried to negotiate with New Delhi for the sale of 155mm howitzers and Hughes anti-tank missiles. The I-Team has been unable to contact Kathy Anderson. We were told that this time she was in Luxembourg. She told associates she was there to close a $6 billion loan to an Indian tribe in Oklahoma. She told those associates that the deal would net her $50 million.
We asked SBA official Don Showalter if he believed all these deals were appropriate activity for a crane company receiving government help as a disadvantaged business. Showalter said he thought that it was probably okay for a company in the program to, as he put it, diversify.
One of the promises Kathy Anderson made of her business was to elevate women to equal pay and equal work in the male-dominated construction field. The I-Team's investigation of Kathy's Cranes revealed a business dominated by men, women for the most part relegated to simple office work. Some former women employees of Kathy's told the I-Team that when a TV crew showed up to do a feature story of her, the women were pulled out of the office and told to put on hard hats. On the one occasion that we discovered where a woman was placed in the field in a supervisory capacity, the payroll record showed she was paid $200 less a week than the man she replaced. Tomorrow night, the most common abuse in the program, men posing as women businesses. Dave?
Thank you, Don. Dome ball is soon to include round ball as the first basketball game at the Metrodome will be played under the guidance of the sentimental Olympic coach Bobby Knight.
You know, I always feel that when I come out in Williams Arena and get booed to start the game, that it's really a friendly kind of a boo. You know, the people here are good fans.
Of course it's friendly. Coach Knight and other stories on the sports scene with Mark Rosen in a moment.
KTWB FM 101. Feeling good, it's just for you and me. Feeling good, the new KTWB.
Switch to the new KDWB FM 101 for more music, a better variety of songs, and DJs who keep you feeling good.
Feeling good, alive and having fun. Feeling good, the new FM 101. KDWB FM 101.
Life's financial crossroads. Which route do you take to make your money grow? The best investment is to sit down one-to-one with an IDS American Express planner to work out a long-term financial plan so you can move on with confidence. Sit down with an IDS American Express planner. It could be the best investment you'll ever make.
It took the mind of Minolta to create the voice.
Load film.
The Minolta Talker. Listen.
Too dark. Use flash.
The world's easiest 35mm compact focuses by infrared beam. Watch it automatically attach and load film, even advances and rewinds automatically. The only mistake you can make is leaving it home. The Minolta Talker.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
You know, this kills me. This new eyeworks place says that you can get a complete eye exam and new glasses in only a few hours. What's the big hurry? They say they have over 4,000 different frames. How many does a person need? And this really kills me. They say they got a computer that figures out which frames look best on your face. What's so hard about that? I picked these.
Come to the iWorks. Now there's a better way to take care of your eyes.
The Twins doing well tonight against still another West Coast team. Mark?
Well, Dave, they have their sights set on first place California, and they lead the Angels by the score of 2-0 in the third inning. Mike Smithson, the big 6'8" right-hander, is on the mound for the Twins as they open a 3-game series against the Angels. Elsewhere in the American League tonight, as we check the scoreboard, the Yankees over Cleveland 5-2. Milwaukee leading Chicago. They are in the 8th inning now 5-3. Detroit going after another victory, leading Kansas City 7-2. Seattle and Oakland, the A's lead 4-1 in the third. And the red-hot Orioles were cooled off by the rain. Their game with Toronto was postponed. The wind was blowing out at Wrigley Field in Chicago today, and when that happens, it's a pitcher's nightmare. The Cubs raced to a 10-0 lead over San Francisco, then held on for dear life as the Giants came back to score 7 times, a total of 17 runs and 30 hits. Leon Durham's 6th-run homer was the key blow for the Cubs, who are tied for the Mets for first place. Durham's 6th home run of the year. Now, elsewhere in the National League tonight, Montreal defeated Houston. Cincinnati defeated the Mets 11-2. Atlanta over Philadelphia. St. Louis has defeated the Dodgers 5-1. San Diego, Pittsburgh rained out. On Sunday morning, July 1st, pine tar and baseballs will give way to sneakers and round ball. Bobby Knight will bring his Olympic team to the Metrodome for an exhibition game.